Hello, it is Don here from Operation Alpha. I hope you are all good. This is the next one in my series of free tips. It's been a long break again, but yeah, I've just been very hectic, but getting back into it now. And today I'm going to talk about something that is very important to me and my ethos, my training ethos, and the way I conduct my programs, both the online and the offline versions of Operation Alpha. That is quality of movement, which is kind of the mantra over here, and why that is important. So yeah, I mean, basically what we're talking about here is the skill and the art of performing movements correctly, which is something that unfortunately for a lot of people. Bit of a foreign concept. I think because people are so concerned with burning calories and getting a sweat on and feeling the burn, and plus I think the need or the desire to achieve results very quickly, particularly weight loss. What tends to happen is people don't really pay much heed to the importance of learning how to move correctly, or if they do, they kind of pay it lip service and tend to bypass the process of what is required to learn how to move in a good way. Yeah. So if you think about examples of great athletes who tend to have the type of physique that a lot of people kind of aspire to. So for instance, boxers or gymnasts or fighters. So MMA fighters, martial artists, these guys tend to have great physiques that most people aspire to. But then think about the way that they train and the way that they move. Yeah, these people are very technically proficient and skilled movers. They're certainly not people who just work as hard as they can on conditioning at the expense of technique. And that should start to give you a little bit of a clue of why this is so important. So, for instance, I was talking to one of my members about this today. Something that seems to fall down in this country when it comes to conditioning for martial arts in particular. I'm not saying that you will find this to not be the case in martial arts clubs which are of a good standard, which is there are many of them. But sometimes what you'll have is we'll look to the east, say Muay Thai fighters, for an example, Thai boxing fighters in Thailand, and they train incredibly hard and do just incredibly demanding conditioning circuits. And then we kind of get into that mindset over here of thinking, oh well, that means we should train really hard as well. But there's the what can happen is this expense of technique. If you look at somebody like a martial artist or a Thai boxer, for example, training, yeah, they train really hard, but everything they do, every kick, every knee, every punch, every conditioning movement they do is with absolute perfect technique. And I see less of that over here. So I was talking to one of my members about that today, who's very eager to train very hard and very quickly and just get into it, and in a bit of a panic and under a little bit of putting himself under a little bit of pressure to train hard and train fast before the process of really learning the movements has taken place. That gives you an idea. And this is important for a couple of reasons. Obviously, we want to avoid pain and injury, especially as we get older and the body is less forgiving. So that should be fairly obvious. If you're learning the skill of moving correctly and good techniques, you're gonna, you're doing everything you can to avoid pain and injury. It's impossible to avoid it completely, but that's just the payoff of being an athletic, fit and in shape human being. From time to time you are going to get some aches and niggles, but by learning how to move correctly, you're going to reduce that. Now, secondly, it's your results. Yeah, so I love to think about training in terms of time, in terms of minute for minute. Now, you know, as a busy 30 plus guy in the trenches, you know, your free time is very precious, and your training time is very precious. You don't have much of it. So obviously, minute for minute, you want to get the best results, yield the greatest returns, if you like, from your training time. So if you think about it minute for minute, what's going to give you the best returns long term? You know, we're talking over of 6 months to a year. Moving well or moving poorly? Yeah, it's going to be pretty obvious that moving well is going to give you better results. Yeah, now if you want to think about that in a detailed way, if you are able to perform a good squat with a full range of motion, you're going to get stronger. You're going to be working your muscles over a greater range of motion, and you're going to be able to use more weight quickly with good technique. Yeah, so it stands to reason that you're going to get greater results from your squat because as a result of learning how to move well. But the thing is that you have to have some patience to get to that point. And this is the thing, you know, it's bypassing the process of learning how to move well. Long term is it's gonna fuck you up, basically. You know, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. And the point of this video is basically to encourage you to have a bit of patience, and to not bypass that process, to do what you can to learn how to move well, to learn how to squat properly, how to lunge, how to do a correct push-up correctly, how to hip hinge, how to do bridges and rows, good pulling movement techniques. If you learn how to do that properly, you're going to get better results long term, and you're not going to get injured. And it really does boil down to that. So I hope that's been useful. Please keep the questions coming. And by all means, if you'd like to know more about this topic, just comment below or send me an email. And I will speak to you soon. Cheers.